Station, where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Theme song is gonna play or not. I don't want to have it playing in the background, and I don't even know. So let's check and see if the Trench Talk theme is gonna play this week. There it is. You tuned into the Farron Dozier Show on mbradio.us, Trench Talk Edition, and Live Tour Sports. Catch me here Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, only on mbradio.us. How'd I do? Was that a good take? That might work. All right, good evening. Welcome to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website and mbradio.us. We got to bless the show before we get started. Let's go. When I was in my mother's womb, I had calling on my life to do something in the glory of God and marry it like a wife. Commit myself to his word and never be led astray. And when it's all over, when he comes, I'll be glad to see that day in the morning time. All right, welcome to another episode of the Farron Dozier Show right here on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. Thank you for listening today. As always, we have a very, very impactful show for you here Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Time on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. I appreciate them for allowing me to have my talk shows, my military segments on here. Just a true blessing. Just having a good time, as you can see, I'm on KCA Radio as well. At one point of the show of the season, I was actually simulcasting both shows together at the same time. So I could just do one show one time and be done with it. However, that didn't work out as planned. So we are in the works to try to figure out how to reunite both of those shows and maybe, or just keep them separate. Again, thanks for listening in. I have some PSAs I want to play for you. But before I do that, I just want to shout out to those, again, who are participating and has been listening to the show. I thank you so much for your time. And I pray that these conversations help just kind of soften your hearts to see just what it is to be a human being, right? Because we're veterans. This is a military platform. We have our veteran community, the families, the loved ones, the siblings, the cousins, that veteran is connected to so many people, right? And then we have those who support veterans in their resources, the patriots who support veterans in their giving of their time, right? So there are so many things going on in the world today that supports that veteran. Now, when you look at a veteran, a person who serves in the military, we are really about maybe less than 2% of the population that serve at any given time in this country. So you got 8 billion plus people on the planet, minus the children and the young adults. So there's a small percentage of us. It's very small, 1 to 2% people actually join the military, give their life to death, and serve this country. For whatever reason, that the military is a way for them to get their life on track, to get disciplined, whatever, financially stable, whatever that is for that veteran. Sometimes it's God and country, and sometimes it's not always about God and country, right? But for what it takes for a person to give their life, right? That's not a small conversation to have. 1% of the population, right? So thank you from our brothers and sisters at arms. Again, there is so much going on. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're going to touch on some of that, but I got something I want to share with you that I've been up to in my life, right? And so I have the show I'm going to play for you that we do on KCA Radio. It is called the Mailman Segment. The Mailman Segment. And that show is basically about what it is to be a man. What it is to be a male. We got to go back, though. We got to go back to childhood. What was it like growing up as a child, as a son, as a little boy, in your environment, in your culture? And if we tell the truth and really tell the truth of our experiences about life, whether you're Black, white, Asian, Caucasian, Mediterranean, whatever your background is, nationality, race, however you language it, if we really tell the truth, we're not much different. Not different at all. because we're human beings first. And that human experience is so important, but it's also so fragile that it gets fractured early, early on in life. All right. And so the next few weeks, I've got like 9 episodes that I'm going to share with you as we progress and get you caught up in this conversation of what it is to be a male man. Yes, I'm going to do some talks, but I really want you to hear these conversations of the people and how we talk and what we're sharing of what it is to be a male man. But ladies, you're not left out. In one of these episodes, you're going to see we have a veteran, female veteran, who's helping us speak from her perspective of what it is to be a female woman, right? So we don't generalize conversations. We don't think that we're going to speak for everybody. And I'm speaking for the Black community. I'm speaking for Black men. Nope. We don't do that. You get to share your experience, your perception, your perspective, your interpretation freely. It's not right or wrong, good or bad. People want to be heard sometimes. Sometimes that's just all it is, to be heard. And we're creating this space for men because we believe that the male man is responsible. He is the foundation of that family, of that relationship, the male. Now, you can discuss it how you want to discuss it or however you language it, but the male man is responsible for the foundation. You're not the roof. You're not the head of the house in this context. In this context, you're like the foundation of a house. And the foundation of a house, if you understand how important the foundation of a house is, do you know how important that is? It's so important that if that foundation is cracked, it doesn't matter how expensive that house is. It could be $1 million, $3 million home. But if that foundation is found to have a crack or cracks in the foundation, that home can be condemned. And in worst cases, they have to tear that home down so they can go under and fix that foundation. Now, as men, that's us. And sometimes your family, your children, your loved ones are not going to say, "Oh, Farron, thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you for holding the family together. Pops, thanks, Dad, for holding us together." Sometimes they're not going to say that to you. So you have to have that within yourself to know that you have done everything that you need to do. You're being who you need to be for your family, for yourself first, so that you can sustain what it is to be that role. If you decide to take on the role of being a father or a parent, because they're not the same. A father and a parent is not the same. Those are two different roles. And so sometimes we grow up as men thinking that, man, my dad, he didn't do this for me. So I'm gonna give my children what my dad didn't give me. That might not be the right conversation, because you're putting your concerns on your child. That's not your child's concerns. So back to the foundation. What is the foundation made of? That's what you got to go look at. A foundation of a home is asphalt, is barbed wire. Like there's all kind of cement. There's all kind of ingredients that's designed to hold up that house as a foundation. When they drop that architect, that paperwork, blueprint, they got to figure out what capacity can this foundation hold up. They got to calculate all the bedrooms, all the furniture, all the block. Like they got to calculate all of that. How many people could live in this house? What if there's 2 families or 3 families and you got 5 bedrooms? What if you got 6 people in each bedroom? Can the foundation hold? Like they got the sink, the kitchen, the refrigerator, like they got to calculate all that in those blueprints and those documents to then know what type of foundation they need to build to hold up that house. So I'm saying us as men, what are our ingredients? What is your ingredients? Is it anger, frustration, upset, disappointment, shame, embarrassment, plus a little bit of happiness and joy and love and patience and caring and kindness mixed with a little bit of attitude and whatever? What's all that? What is that? What shows up when you're under pressure? What comes out of your heart? What are your thoughts when you're under pressure? For me, that's your ingredients. And sometimes we got to go back And we got to go back and look deep in our hearts and figure out, who am I and how did I get to be this person? And if we tell the truth, sometimes it comes from a lot of different emotional fractures and upsets and disappointments and shames and embarrassment. And you just change and transitions and fears. And I'm not good enough and I'm not worth it. And I'm on my own. I don't belong. My buddy said on the show last night, no one's coming to save me. Like all of those conversations that we talk to ourselves about ourselves, that we make a decision based off of a past experience. Maybe at the point of a young age where you didn't even understand what your mind was landing on. That you could land on as a 2-year-old child, like I did, that I'm unsafe in relationships and I'm lost in relationships. Can you imagine landing on that at 2 years old? Not as an experience, but as your identity of who you get to be at 2 years old is I'm not safe. And you're crying every time your mother picks you up because you feel like you're disconnected from her because you don't know her no more because you've been living in your grandparents' house all week. And now you got to go with this lady who's supposed to be your mother, but no, 2 years old. And you land on that as an identity, not just an experience, but as an identity that who I am is lost in relationships, that who I am is unsafe in relationships. So we all deal with something. I'm willing to bet no one escapes it. We might pretend like everything is cool, but what does your heart say to you? When you're under pressure in life and pressure shows up, what thoughts do you have? And then how do you react to those thoughts? Because the thoughts are going to be there. We have thousands of thoughts all day long. But when you learn that you don't have to become those thoughts, that you don't have to speak those thoughts out of your mouth, that you can actually grab that thought and filter it and be like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm going to say that. That's not going to be, I don't think I need to say that out loud. Or not even say that, accept that about yourself as your thoughts and your mind connect together. Like, yeah, you know what, man? You better not do that, Farron, because you know you're not good enough. Why would somebody want to be a part of that? You're not even good enough for that. That's how we talk to ourselves when our mouth is closed, that voice. So if around mental health, there's so many dynamics to that label, mental health. You got to be willing to tell the truth to yourself to figure out what that is for you. So I'm going to play this episode. This is one of our first episodes with myself, Charlie, Mr. Walker, and our first guest, Jesse. Jesse is a part of our basketball team, the ABA, the American Basketball Association. We are your Inland Empire Hounds. And I just want to announce that the season is coming up. And guess what? From the year before when we picked them up at 17-3, this past year, we landed in 4th place with 14-6, lost in the playoffs. So we're coming back. We're coming back, and we want you to be a part of it. Whether you're watching us online or you're a business that participates and sponsors one of our programs or one of our platforms or one of our players, we just want to say thank you in advance. You ever been to a arena, basketball gym, the Lakers stadium, Clippers, for those of you in the IE, the 66ers, or wherever you watch this professional sports team, you see all those banners along the wall and up in the stadiums. Yeah, those are the businesses that support that team. They sponsor those teams. We're looking for that same conversation. So if you would like to be a part of the Inland Empire Hounds and sponsor our programs or our conversations that we're up to, that we're bringing to the community, guess what? Your business can be a part of us and brand with us. We'll give you social media posts. We'll give you some posts on the game day. We'll give you website presence and maybe even invite you to come and talk on the radio show for an interview and talk about your business and why you even chose to support your professional ABA basketball team, the Inland Empire Hounds. IEHounds.com and also IEHounds ABA on Instagram. I don't have that up here. I should put that. But yeah, so stay tuned for more information about the Hounds. The season starts for us in mid-October. From mid-October until February. I already got 2 games scheduled for February 27th and 28th. We're going to Nevada already. We already got them locked in Nevada. So as we build in our schedule, this coming season, IEHounds.com, check out the website. The website is doing great. In the first 6 months of the build of the website in June till December, we had over 300,000 visits to our website. And since January of 2026, over 100,000, 112,000 plus so far, last I saw, have visited our website. So those are eyeballs that will be on your business. Those are eyeballs that are watching the IE Hounds. They secretly watching. They're trying to see what we're up to. The ABA has 150 to 200 teams across the country. Our division alone has about 18 teams. So we play from San Diego to New Mexico to Arizona to Nevada to Northern California, Central California, and Palmdale. So we cover a wide area. And if at some point we want to go across the country and play teams in Chicago and Texas and so on and so forth. So as we build this platform as a contribution, not just to us, but to the community, because all of our programs are connected to this platform. The basketball is the bonus, right? What are we doing throughout the week? What are we doing with our community? Who are we mentoring in the community with our basketball players? Are our basketball players being mentored? These are grown men chasing that hoop dream. One more shot at a chance to play professional basketball. Or you got an athlete who's coming out of a college who maybe didn't make it to that level to go to college or done with college, and they still are chasing that hoop dream. The ABA is a platform where you can come and play in the ABA, get your stats, make a little change, and get seen and maybe go overseas and play overseas if that's your wish, or play for your community and represent your community. That's the power of this ABA basketball team. All right. So thank you for that. Again, we appreciate you for tuning and listening in. I'm just going to bring up the show. I hope you enjoy this. Please listen. Please pay attention and listen. This is one of our first episode, very heartfelt. And the conversations that came after this episode for Jesse and his family talk about reconciliation and forgiveness and just pure love. Sometimes we don't really see the impact that we have on our families. That's why fathers are so important. As a father, as a mother, those are roles. That's not a person. A father and a mother is not a person. That's a role. That's a man. That was a young boy at one period of time. When we marry one another, male and female, we're marrying each other's history. It's not just the person you're marrying, but you're marrying that person's history. And if they're 30 years old, you got 30 years of history between the two of you. 60 years of history. The history. That's what you're marrying into, the history. And now what's going on in that person's history? Sometimes we never know until 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years later, and we notice the behavior, but we're like, man, where did that come from? I never thought you could act like that. Well, I act like that because I'm avoiding being embarrassed and shame and disappointment. And I will sabotage this relationship to look good and not look bad at the cost of our relationship failing. But hey, at least I survived, right? Nah, no more. No more of that. No more. No. All right. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this conversation here. This for me is just truly a blessing to be able to present to you the Farron Dozier Show, the male man segment right here. Welcome to the Farron Dozier Show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website and mbrradio.us. We got to bless the show before we get started. Let's go. When I was in my mother's womb, I had a calling on my life to do something in the glory of God and marry it like a wife. Commit myself to his word and never be led astray. And when it's all over, when he comes, I'll be glad to see that day in the morning time. Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM, and streaming at kcaaradio.com, the station that leaves no listener behind. Also, we got an app too. So if you're on an Apple or iOS, go and download that app and you can catch us there whenever you need to, right? Plus, there are other shows on the network as well. So make sure you check out my teammates, right? All times of the day, all times of the night, you can find something to listen to here at KCA Radio. All right, this week, we're into a special edition of the Farron Dozier Show. This conversation is near and dear to my heart because I am a male. I am a male, and the things that I had to go back and rediscover and relearn at age 40, right? And so today I have my colleagues, my counterparts, my teammates, and we're all going to join in together and chime in just about what it is to be a male, right? And you can look in the world, and the world has all these opinions, all these different sayings, and what a man can't be, or what a man got to do, or all these things, right? So we don't generalize conversations, because I can't speak for these gentlemen here. They can only share from their own personal life experience. But guess what? The principles that we use are for the same story. You can unravel your story, your ideas about yourself in the same principles that we're going to be speaking from. But you got to be willing. Now you can listen to us, and it could sound good for us and not for you, because that could be conceptual. Sometimes we listen to things in life that sound good, but I can't do that. That sounds good for them. And you may not even say that out loud. You might be thinking that. But what is it that has your thoughts think that you can't have this kind of conversation and be open and share? It takes something. It takes a level of courage that you may have, but not in the area, because this could be very uncomfortable for some of us, right? And so we're willing to put our life here on the line, put our life on the court. We're not going to sit in the stands and say, but if I was you, I would do this. If that was me, I would have did this. No, we're not going to be in the stands, and we're not going to be in the bench either, because some people live their life on the bench waiting for somebody to put them in the game of life. So we are here choosing to be on the court of life and discuss what it is to be a male. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you tune in for more of these series, because we are coming back every week, Tuesdays at 6 p.m., right? And so for those of you that are new to this hour, again, I'm Farron Dozier. I was actually on Sunday nights at 8 p.m., but we moved the show back to my original spot, which is Tuesdays at 6 p.m. So for these type of conversations. So I'm not here by myself. I'm going to introduce my guests and also the other gentlemen that are here. But before I do that, shouts out to the Inland Empire Hounds, your Inland Empire Hounds ABA professional basketball team. The regular season has come to an end, and we made it to third place in the division. So this coming weekend, looks like Sunday at 4 p.m., we are in the playoffs, competing with the number 2 team, the Mob, Mind Over Basketball. New team this season, their first season this year, came out strong. We're tied for the record for this season. They beat us first, and then we beat them. And so now we're going to see who is winner go. So winner go in the playoffs. All right. So shouts out to the Inland Empire Hounds. Make sure you go to iehounds.com. If you didn't get a chance to check us out this season, we'll be in the off season developing, getting more community relationships, building the team, building the brand, and hopefully by next season you'll catch some interest and come and hang out with us at a few games. All right. I'm gonna go from far left for me. I met Mr. Walker. He's not new to the station. If you've probably seen him on a couple of interviews, if you've been watching some of the archives or listening to some of the archives, I have been blessed to meet this gentleman from a different age bracket, a different background, but we were able to connect, introduced by a mutual friend, and we just hit it off. And the ability for us to communicate in this different generational conversations, because he's a little bit older than I am. Finally, I'm not the oldest guy. But Mr. Walker, man, you're not brand new here, man. Introduce yourself. Give him some background.
Yes, I'm Willie Walker Sr., CEO of 777 nonprofit organization here in the IE. And like you said, the feelings are mutual, sir. I mean, you may not be in the same age bracket, but you have an old soul.
Thank you.
Yes,
all right. Thank you so much for that. To my gentlemen here, we just got introduced again. I've been blessed to meet these gentlemen. Charlie was here just a couple of weeks ago, sharing his story and what he's up to in the community. Mr.
Charlie Pagan. I'm actually the corporate marketing for a hotel chain, and I obviously work a lot with the homeless community. So I'm very proactive, involved with the different aspects of homeless programs and agencies and so on and so forth.
Thank you. Thank you. And this next gentleman here next to me, we are not strangers. I was blessed to meet Jesse before I took over the Inland Empire Hounds last year as a company we did. Jesse was providing free tacos at every game, just about. And so I went, my other team, the Ventura County Orcas, we went to go play the Hounds, and Jesse was there with his wife, man, serving up free tacos, taking donations. And so when we took over the team, I was like, look, man, I know it's challenging, but I'm going to do the best I can to help you provide some money for these foods so that you can not take the burden on for yourself, right? So we were in the community. Shouts out to Angelica and Donovan, who helped us one of those games, the first game of the season, November 28th. And we were able to get some money together and allowed him to provide food for our players, the staff, and then the away team. That's part of the hospitality that most ABA teams provide, water and a meal, if you can, for the competing team. So, Jesse, man, introduce yourself. Don't give it all away yet. Just introduce yourself a little and let them know who you are, man.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for having me here. My name is Jesse. I'm the owner of Crazy for Tacos. And yeah, it's just an honor to be, in collaboration and giving back to the community. Yeah, the what you said last year, that was coming out of pocket, but you know what? I learned to do it out of my heart. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, it is hard, but you know what? Nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this collaboration right here, is gonna be successful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once again, my wife is helping me out, Stephanie, and just like you said, I won't give it all.
Yeah.
It's
No,
just a little intro.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I gotta get comfortable. Test the mic.
You good.
It's natural.
You good. All right. We're gonna play some PSAs. This is my personal work here. Sickle cell trait awareness. I've been blessed to have an organization where we advocate for sickle cell trait in the community. I collapsed in the military. I almost died from what they call sickle cell trait exertion with rhabdomyolysis. And God allowed me to discover my what's next in that and dealing with, again, what it is, my identity. And we're going to touch on some of these conversations tonight. But for me, it was my identity. It was lost. It was trapped in that camouflage and that rank. And when that uniform was done, who was Farron? I have no idea. And so getting back on track and allowing God to, again, minister to me and show me that, no, I gave you that inherited gene in your mother's womb, right? So the military was just part of the conversation that I needed you to go through to get molded and experience all that. And now I use that experience to advocate and share, right? So we're going to play one of the PSAs here, and then we'll come back and just get right into Jesse is our special guest tonight, so he's open and willing to share his story, and then we're gonna just go through some of these conversations of what it takes or what is it for a man, like the ingredients of being a man, right? And I believe we all have some perception or interpretation or perspective of what that looks like, and we hope that you that are listening, males, females, men, women, you could be the fly on the wall. We want you to listen to, because at some point this conversation is gonna cross over into what our relationship with women, right? So women, you're not excluded, but we're speaking to the hearts of our men today. And we just thank you for listening to KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Shout out to What's the Count.
Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on sickle cell trait prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit wdconsct.org.
Welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Let's go real quick. Mr. Walker, when you heard the first little few bars of that song, man, what comes to mind when you hear joy and pain?
Turning some corners and enjoying my teenage life.
He said, turning some corners.
Yeah, turning some corners. Like I
With
said,
the diamond in the back and the sunroof top?
that was it. Kicking back. Yeah. Growing up in that joy, the joy and pain.
The joy and pain.
And that's what you understand when manhood really kicks in. So,
Charlie, what's the first few bars of that song for you?
I'll tell you, I can relate to that, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an old timer too. I know the song, I know the lyrics. And let me tell you, when it was playing, man,
Yeah.
I was just going back to those days, you know, when I was hanging out,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know, doing my thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, let me tell you, it's definitely brings back, it's going to usher into the subject
Yeah.
that we're going to
Mhm.
get into, because it does a lot of pain, man.
Yeah.
A lot of
Mhm.
pain, a lot of stuff going on there. So
No doubt.
yeah,
I appreciate
definitely.
Jesse, what you got, man? I heard you over here snapping your fingers.
Yeah, I was over here jamming because you know what? I saw myself playing baseball. You know what I mean? Right there in the park. You know what I mean? And the OGs over there. You know what I mean? And yeah, and just chilling, but just how it says the main concept of what we're speaking of, the pain behind what made the character of today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, it's a very strong theme that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And man, wow. But yeah,
That's it?
hey,
I saw you snapping your finger.
yeah, I was grooving.
For me, man, it takes me right back to my dad, man. Those childhood days, man, hanging out with my dad. My dad had a Volkswagen Bug off the showroom floor. Then he had this powder blue Cougar with a vinyl top, and he would sneak all of us into the drive-in theater, me and my cousins, man, and I'd be on the base of the floor, man, just and they count because they would count bodies, how many in the car. So all the little ones would be tucked underneath the seat, and I'd be under the glove box right there on the footboard, man. But those are the songs that remind me of my dad. And I choose music like this because music marks place in time. It is a soundtrack to our life, man. And sometimes just that music can connect people, as you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, of what those songs do for us and bring back those memories, right? So thank you for listening in. Jesse, let's get right into it, man. I want to ask you, when I invited you to be a part of this conversation, what was the first thing that came to mind about being a male?
Wow, that's a big subject. Especially not having one in the life, you know what I mean? How I say, like, wow, that's a tough subject because, you know what I mean? Especially when you don't have that role model, or if you have that role model, it's not what you expect.
Yeah.
So it's like, I never grew up how to treat a woman, you know what I mean? So I had to learn on my own. And thanks through that pain, like I remember my pops got my mom, hey, I need you. He was all tipsy, you know what I mean? And he's like, hey, Lola, I need some food. You know what I mean? And I'm across the street in the hall in my room, and my pops is coming across. I cover myself up. And I'm like, he's like, come on, I'm gonna show you how to cook, because I had no idea, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just a little kid. And I cooked some huevos con chorizo, right? And thanks to that, hit in the head and all that, he's like, I'm gonna show you how to cook. So just in case if you get married with a woman and you don't know how to cook, you don't die of hunger.
No doubt.
And I'm
No
like,
doubt
hey,
about that.
yeah. And I'm like, you know what? Look at me right now. I'm a certified chef. you know. But yeah, there's been some struggles, brother. Like, you know, not having that male figure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. We're gonna dance on that for a second as well. Mr. Walker, man, he mentioned childhood, father, sometimes absent father, child's perception, not really understanding what it is to be a father as a role. We think a father is a person, but a father is not a person. A father is a role, right? So, in your mind, in your heart, what comes to mind for that?
Well, as he was talking, because my father taught me the same way. I mean, he was a hands-on, you know. So, and the hands-on were just that, hands-on. He was not a communicator verbally. But he believed that he would show you one time, and after that, you need to get it.
Yeah.
You know, but that you may not understand it as you're growing up, but as your life progresses and you go through your puberty and into manhood, then you find out that the old man was right. You know, about how to deal with your circumstances and don't complain. You know, get up and make it happen. That's how I was raised.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up, and he is absolutely correct. You know, like for me, you know, what it is to be a man for me, right? I mean, you know, my dad was, you know, strict in his own way. You know, my dad had a policy. The way my dad handled the kids were this way. Okay. He would say, okay, so now you finish high school. What are you going to do? He'll sit to us, have a meeting with each one of us, and he'll say, so you have two options. Either you go to college, or you get a job, but you're not going to stay living here off of me, because I've done my job. Okay. Your mom and I, we work, we feed you, we give you the provisions, but now you're ready to step your game up. Right. So of course we had to make that decision. Right. And so for me, that was the pivotal point of my life in terms of transitioning into some form of independence, growing into becoming, you know, from a teenager into going into the world and adapting on how to become a man.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll leave it at that one.
Yeah. For me, my parents weren't married. And so I'm a 70s baby. And so my dad was there for sure the first 7 years, and then they had a conversation and like an ultimatum. So he chose his lifestyle. So as you mentioned about growing up and cooking, bro, I wish that I could cook. I didn't get that from my side, my parents. I got more of the cleaning, but the food, as you said, because when I did get married, I could cook. And sometimes that was used against me to control.
I get
right?
that.
You get that?
Yeah.
So I know that you can't cook. So then since you can't cook, then I'm going to take that away. So I'm starving, bro. I'm panicking.
Oh, wow.
I'm panicking.
Okay.
No, I get it.
And so that me, I wish to this day, I wish that I do enough to survive, but I still have that in my mind that, man, I didn't really learn how to cook. And even being a latchkey kid, it was like, don't turn the oven on, don't. Okay. So even that still rings in my head.
Yeah, you'll be like, nah, I'm not gonna do it because I'm gonna get it.
Right. So back to you. You are a special guest tonight.
Okay.
You mentioned your father there, but still something missing for you. What do you think, looking back, was missing? Even though he was there, but there was still something going on with you. What was going on? Get into the mic.
Okay, look, financial wise, it was there. You know what I mean? Emotionally, dead.
Yeah.
You know, I'll see him whenever I see him. You know, mom was the one involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For all them women out there that you guys are alone, you guys are doing it. Hey, you know. But yeah, our main focus is us. You know what I mean? Or I. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was kind of rough. You know what I mean? I'm the oldest of four.
Okay.
It's me, my brother Abraham, my sister Jocelyn, my sister Adali. Me and my brother were 7 years apart, and so I grew up by myself. You know what I mean? And how I said, the role model was just a role, not a model. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, he was my hero. I wanted to be like Dad. You know what I mean? I wanted to have the Lolos. I wanted to have the GTO. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I wanted to have that drag racing. You know what I mean? I wanted to be just like him, but I wanted to get it, the other kind of way, like the easy way. And at the end of the day, it's like, come on, like, like I'm cool.
I appreciate you pointing that out, because that's really why we're here.
Yeah.
Is what's missing is, as far as us as men, is that emotional part of the development that our children, male, female children, need from us. Right. So he described it perfectly as we get into the ingredients of what it is to be a male. I think, Charlie, you even mentioned it too. It's like sometimes we got to give the role of a father some compassion, and not the label as the person, because what if they didn't get that from their own environment, right? So now we got to be able to peel off these layers sometimes and be like, well, man, if my dad was this way, I wonder what was life like for him.
Right.
But as children, we don't see that in the when you're in the midst of it, when you're dealing with it at a young age, you don't see that, because, like you said, all we want is our parents' time. We don't care about your money. They don't care about where you at, the cars. They want to know, where's mom and dad, where are you at? Because I want your time.
And
right?
And also, just to make a point, and that's a great point. Okay, excellent point. Generation to generation, cultural and that kind of stuff. For me, I mean, I love my dad. He was a good dad. Okay, work, hard, that kind of stuff. But we were close, but then we were distant. Okay, the distance was that I desired the support part of it. When you play sports or things like that, I'd like to see your dad, kind of come and watch you play, cheer you on, that kind of stuff. My dad was a man who valued family, valued kids' work, but at the same token, he was the type of person that alienated himself, in that sense. There wasn't like an emotional detachment per se, but then at the same token, I understood where that was coming from. So, when you now become a father, right? Because, obviously I became a dad and, 2 kids. And so I know I'm going to speak from the heart, man, straight from the heart, sometimes you just say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be at all my kids' games. Right. I'm going to be the first guy cheering. I'm going to be the guy if they want to kick me out because I'm cheering for my kid. Kick me out. I don't really care. Okay. And if I'm, you know what I'm saying? So there's that detachment. But then as you get older, as you're shaped and molding yourself into becoming a man, okay, because there are different variations of that, right? You got the do's and the do's. You're not going to do this, and I'm going to do that, right? So for me, it was great dad, so on and so forth, but he wasn't really there, okay? He wasn't there for me. Hell, I don't even remember if he went to my graduation. You follow where I'm coming from? So here I am at my age, 68 years old, and I can reflect back, and there's a pain, there's that, oh man, I wish. And then now that I have my son, sometimes I want to be vicariously living through him to make up for something that maybe I haven't even let go. I'm still holding on to.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mr. Walker.
Even when you're saying about on the sports thing, my father, I remember him, if he came to one game, and then later on, much later on down the road, I might add, when I was in my 30s, and where I really understood my father. And when you're saying about, I can count on one hand when I was growing up that my father told me he loved me. That was not his. That was not his thing. He told me he loved me more in my 30s,
okay,
in a prison setting, than he did when I was on the streets.
Wow.
So I can definitely identify to what you're saying, but see, what we as men hopefully come to understand is, like you said, when we have our own sons, and unfortunately I have 2 sons and 3 grandsons, that I want to be a better father. And I learned that from my father, that he can only give you what he knows. And that's why we're involved in this conversation to bring those things out on the table. And just like you said, speaking the truth. I mean, the truth is the truth. It's going to withstand the acid test and the light. And my father was a hard old man who understands nothing but get it done.
Now, you know, I when you say the truth, and when I say it, I hear my mom, right? And my mom was, you know, she talks about what truth, and that's what we have to understand. We all have our own individual truth, but then there's the truth. So what I had to learn was what I went through in my life, and I reflect on my dad and what I saw and how I felt and who I became and how I behave. Yeah, it's my truth, but it's not the truth. And then being able to go back to my dad and be like, hey man, you know what? I made up some stories about you that I realized that was not the truth about you. So can you please tell me, what was it like growing up in your environment? Tell me. So when I heard my dad share, I was like, well, no wonder. Well, no wonder you act like that, because you grew up in the generation of my grandfather, who was 8, 9 years old post-slavery, who hated white people. So he passed that indirectly to his children. I'm going to teach you how to be independent, so you can depend on a white man. Now that's from a child who grew up in that environment. Of course, that's what he has in him. But what he didn't see was, my grandfather didn't see was, sometimes we also plant those negative seeds at the same time by trying to protect the child from what we went through. So now my dad grows up thinking he's racist, hating white people, and has no idea 60 years till he discovered that. And he was 69 when he passed. So sometimes as fathers, the role, because we carry what our past experiences are, we try to either live through our children, or my concerns are now my child's concerns. So I don't want you to go through what I went through, but then that's not my life. And it's hard for a father or a dad when you're in the mind frame of being a protector. Anything with that, Jesse?
You're enabling that person.
To the mic.
Yeah, you're enabling that person to develop, you know, like the interaction with them. I could piggyback on that, and also, you know, what you said right now in a prison cell, like, like I was in prison, and it's like, that would be like, hey, you don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. Hey, bro, you were in prison, bro. You came out of prison, and I had no idea who you were. You know what I mean? Because he was skinny, like, you know. And when he came out, he talked to me about God. My dad talked to me about God. I'm like, what? You know, he sent me a letter. Hey, you know what? Woo, I'm over here. I'm like, okay. But hey, you were actually my role model. You were actually my you know, my God. And just how you said, you know what I mean? Like, back in the days, there was not I love you, son. Because my dad told me that. He's like, hey, I'm like, hey, I love you, Pops. I love you, Apá, te quiero. Okay. Like that, plain and simple, like, okay. I was like, orderly, that's cool. And then like lately, it's like, hey, how are you, Dad? You know what I mean? I should reach out to him, you know, even though whatever we have differences. I'm like, hey, what's up, Pops? How you doing? Hey, you know, my dad will tell me, if you want to see me, you have to come look for me. I'm not gonna call you. Like the old school way. The old school way.
I'm the parent. You're the child.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, Dad, why you don't pick up the phone and give me a call? You know what I mean? Like, see how I'm doing. Like, there's, you know, I had my little, you know, and I had to tell him, hey, Pops, I'm in the hospital, Pops. This happened to me. Oh, well, why are you doing that? Well, you should do that and then some. You know what I mean? Like, so, well, like how I said, to all the people out there hearing now, you know what I mean? Like, I myself, I try not to enable my kids or protect them. How you said, once again, protect them from the things that I went through, or my dad went through, or my grandpa went through. Hey, I'm a new person. I am my man. I want to develop that communication, and you know what, mijo? If you make a mistake, oh well. Hey, clean your knees, get up, and keep it pushing. Because if not, you know, you're gonna end up in jail, prison, dead, whatever, or in the streets.
And it's a real concern for a father. I mean? Like, that's what us as children, we don't see it. Again, perception-wise, we don't see it as a love and concern, but it becomes a space of rebellion. And that's what parents, as a father, I didn't learn till my daughters were in their late teens. I was able to make those corrections in their late teens. But then you look at the damage that had occurred up until that time. So what if you don't make that correction with your child until their 30s or 40s? Right? And then we're dealing with that.
But see, just like you're saying with that Q&A, I mean, I didn't have no Q&A
Yeah.
with my father.
You don't Q&A.
No.
You don't Q&A your dad.
It's just like what my brother was saying
You
about
don't
the
Q&A
game.
your dad.
I asked him when I was in my 30s, why did you come to my games? He said, man, I got to work.
Right.
Your games were at 2 and 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
I have to work.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it kicked in that it makes sense now. But him explaining that as you were growing up, that was not his thing. He said, I'm not explaining nothing to you. You don't have no vote in here. We're not democratic. This is this is do as I say.
Yeah.
And remember it's a generational thing, right?
Mhm.
Like with my dad, one thing I noticed, he's a very prideful man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, I shared something with you last week, right? Very, very quickly, right? I'm the only one in my family who's ever really saw my dad break down. Okay. I mean, emotionally break down. Okay. The reason why he broke down was because, and remember I told you my first bear, okay, not knowing that I already had one, I guzzled it down. He's looking at me like, are you sure you have a bear? No. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? I mean, by the time he looked, it was already gone. You know what I mean? But this was an intimate moment with me and my dad, right? I kind of worked with him, and I think it was like a summer thing. Anyway, the point is that we were having lunch together, right? And crack the bear, boom, 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 and that was for me. It was like, wow, like what do I do? But suddenly he starts opening up about his father and all the things that his dad did to him. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And the anger that came out of my dad's heart. Okay. I mean, it really freaked me out because I didn't know what to do. And then he just started pouring out and just crying. I mean, this man cried, and I'm like, well, like, do I put my hands around him? Like, what do I do?
Now, how old were you then, though?
I was young. I was probably about 13 years old, 14 years old. So, I put my hands around, okay, daddy, no, whatever. So then all of a sudden, dude, man, it's like, wipes his eye, no big deal, goes into that macho mentality. And then he looks at me, and then he said,
regroup.
he regrouped, man. And then he said, okay, time's up, lunch is over.
Yeah.
He said, do me a favor, don't you ever, by the way, I'm broadcasting them, may you rest in peace. Don't you ever tell anyone what you just witnessed. Now, why do I bring that up? Because think about it, man. I was just a child.
Exactly.
I didn't know how to deal with that. How do you process that, right? But I learned something as a man from that. You follow me?
Okay.
And what I learned from that is to communicate effectively with my son, to trust enough in him. Like I always tell my son, listen, I'm your father. Okay. I mean, we're not really friends here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, but I'm your dad and I love you.
Yeah.
But I want to be transparent with you.
Yeah.
Right. Because I needed that bonding, open relationship with my son so that he doesn't have to go through that suppressive process of how does he deal with that when he has his kids.
Exactly.
You see what I mean?
Exactly.
So what I did was I broke that. I broke, what do you want to call it? The generational curse, whatever you want to.
Consequence.
Right. The consequences of that. I says, you know what? I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So he taught me through that experience, something that later on, as I became an adult, okay, I realized I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
When I have a child.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Thank you for that. Before we take this station identification commercial break, something that all you gentlemen mentioned, the emotional state of that, right? But you hear people talk about their moral compass, right? Moral compass or morals.
Okay.
Now, 4 of us here, different backgrounds, different ages. I'm sure we all have different morals, right? One of the most important ones that I learned in my older age was integrity, right? And integrity from the education that I learned it from was doing what you say you're going to do by when you're going to do it. That's
okay.
Human beings honoring their word. I'm going to be there at 2. I'm gonna show up at 2. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do it. But a lot of times, what I learned also on the flip side of that, it's hard for human beings to honor their word to themselves.
That's right. You're
But
absolutely
yet I expect you to honor your word to me,
right. The expectation.
right?
Yes.
So integrity. If I'm gonna be a male man, one of the back in the day, word is bond. Remember,
Right.
when you was hitting them corners, word is bond. That was a phrase. But what does that actually look like in real life, in real time? Is honoring your word by doing what you're gonna say, by when you're gonna do it, and acknowledging that.
It doesn't look good today.
No,
Right.
it doesn't look good. And I'll also learn before we go is even a promise. Sometimes as fathers, we make promises to our children and we give our word to our child, right?
You
But
got me on that one.
right. But at the same time, if we are being our word and honoring our word, you can break that promise. But a lot of times as men, we don't acknowledge the break of the promise. Sometimes we just don't show up and just be like, whatever, they'll get it. Like whatever that is for us, how we digest it for ourselves. But what I learned was, now if you break that promise as a father, you also got to deal with the unforeseen consequences of breaking that promise, because it could hurt that person, it could hurt that child. So there's a lot that goes into that conversation. Well, I'm going to bring that back to you, gentlemen, after the break. But we're going to play one more PSA. This is the Farron Dozier Show, KCA Radio, 106.5 FM, 50 AM. The mailman. What is that? Let's go.
Hey, I'm Sergeant First Class Farron Dozier. I'm here at the military base, and I have the sickle cell trait. Now, why I got involved is I experienced what they call sickle cell trait exertion. And I was doing the Army physical fitness test, the 2-mile run, and when I got done, I collapsed. A lot of soldiers and athletes have been dying at football fields and running track, and the family members have no idea that they have the sickle cell trait gene or that it's a trigger. So my purpose is to mobilize the community so we can find out what's in your genes. How will life be if we could prevent another child from being born with sickle cell trait or disease? And if the child was born with the trait or disease, that the family members would have the education, awareness, and resources in every city that they lived in. So tune into our webinar series and find out what's the count.
Southern California's Inland Talk Express is KCAA.
I've long since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids are the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you're coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. We're gonna have a good time there.
When I healed with my dad, I had heard that song as a child over and over and over. But when I listened to the actual words, I was like, ooh, that hurts.
Very deep, very deep.
Very deep. That's Cats in the Cradle, Harry Chapin. Beautiful song as a representation of what it is to be a father who's driven, who's out to take care of their family. But that child, he goes through the ages of that child growing up, and he sees it. He sees it, but doesn't recognize it. And then now he wants to have a conversation with his son, and he's long retired now. And then he cuts on the phone. The son says, "Yeah, Dad, gotta go. Kids are sick. Got the flu. Nice talking to you.
Deuces."
Time just flies. Time just flies.
And so those that you are listening, this is why we're here to have these conversations, because as a father, if you don't clean that up early, sometimes we pass away and that child doesn't have that opportunity to heal that part of us. Right. And so when we talk about morals and integrity and all these different conversations, I'm speaking from my own life too, right? Because I had to go back when I hear with my parents. I went to my parents for forgiveness. I went to my mom and asked them to forgive me of how I treated them because I thought my truth was the truth and it wasn't. When I got their information, I was like, oh shoot, y'all was babies. I'm in my 40s trying to figure out what it is to be an adult, to be a man, and I'm mad at my dad because he was 20 years old when he had me. He was a baby too.
He was a baby,
right? So when we are able to self-reflect as a male, as a man, you might have to go back to those childhood points that are in your mind, like the times that you felt those fractures.
Yeah,
because your perception stores that.
Yeah, and let me make a point, just one real quick point. On the subject, just going back a little bit about the broken promises and all that. Remember, we're speaking from the heart.
Yeah.
So, my son and he brought that to my attention. Okay. I remember one day he called me up and we had a disagreement. Okay. And he says, Dad, I says, sometimes you make promises. Okay. And you don't deliver on that promise. And I know that you don't intentionally do that, okay, to hurt me,
right?
Okay, but you need to understand, okay, that as my father, okay, there's a level of expectation that goes with you making that promise, right? And so I would suggest that you do not do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Bottom line.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about that, how to make those corrections.
Yeah. But see, it's like you said, credibility though, and you made a mention about promises. Right. See, and as you grow older, you don't want to paint yourself in a corner.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Because when you paint yourself in a corner, how with misinformation, missing intentions. And I taught my sons, just like you said about my sons have always had that leverage with me. They could call a family meeting at any time and we would discuss. I never whooped my sons when they were growing up because whoopings did not help me. So trying to communicate and raise my sons on what comes out of your mouth is what you have to represent.
That's right.
But again, if I tell you no, you got one shot at me to come back with a rebuttal, right. And I'll change my mind. Yeah. This way you don't get so strict so that they feel intimidated by you, but they respect you, that line of demarcation of father and son. Right. But being able to communicate, and it's a matter of not only credibility, but holding one another as men accountable.
What you just pointed to before I give it to you, Jesse, is what the Bible says is the commandment with the promise: honor your father and mother, obey your parents. Those are two different conversations. It's not that we like or love our father every day. That's not realistic. But the honor the father is how I think about my dad, what comes out of my heart about my dad, the love, the esteem, the cherish, the all of that stuff, how my thoughts are around him. And if my thoughts are, I love my dad, but he get on my nerve, what's the I get on my nerve come from? Right. Jesse, what you got, man?
Okay, man, this is something like, okay, look, I was in prison and like my kids were babies, right? I left my son at 5, left my daughter at 3, went, did a little nickel piece, whatever. But every day I'll call my kids, right? I'll send them letters, whether they read it or not. I didn't care. I did time in the shoe. I'll send them all kinds of stuff. Here you go. And when I got out, they were already grown up a little bit. And I'm like, hey, mijo, you know what? I always looked out for you. I always reached out for you. Whether you got the letter or not, whether you got that, hey, how are you, mijo? I always love you. So what I'm coming down to is that they got older and they threw something in my face. Like, hey, Dad, where were you when I needed you most, Dad? Where were you when they used to tell me, you don't have a dad? Ooh. Hey, that got me, bro. That got me. And then the thing is that it's not just him, it's my daughter. You know what I mean? Coming down to this is like the promises, bro. My daughter told me, okay, all right, Dad, what, you're gonna be on your girl side? Okay, cool. I ain't gonna talk to you. she didn't talk to me, bro, and that will break me. That sent me back to use heroin. Oh, that sent me back to use, hi, how are you? Yeah, you guys gonna come see me? They were in San Diego, bro, and they went to their aunt's house, and they said, "Dad, I'm busy." Bro, that hurt me, bro, because I always reached out for my, like how you say, the integrity. Hey, Sasuke, I'm gonna do this for you. I got it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And but right now, my son, I just went to the gender review. He's gonna have a little boy. I want him to be just exactly how you said. Like, there's a difference between being your amigo, your friend, and being your father.
Right.
Hey, mijo, you know what? I want you to be open with me. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if there's things that you want to ask me, if I don't know it, I'll find out. I mean, we got Google, we have ChatGPT, we have everything, bro. Like, we have the Bible, which it doesn't go wrong. That's a straightforward from back in the days.
Yeah.
And it's never gonna change.
That's
You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, mijo, like today that I talked to him before coming, hey, mijo, I'm gonna come over here. Hey, that's good. So what I'm coming down to is like, I was his role model because I was going to school. I lost everything. I'm building myself back together.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dad, I'm proud of you. I want to be just like you.
Praise God. It's awesome.
But how much time did you do?
I gave like 20 years to the system.
20?
Well, in and out, yeah.
What are they saying?
Yeah.
No, because the reason I asked you that is that I'm 70, will be 77.
Yeah.
But I did half of my life in prison.
Yeah.
Wow.
16 in the feds. 16 in the state, 10 in the feds. But my sons, fortunately, I had them at a later age in my 40s.
Yeah.
So I was able to be there with them.
Yeah.
Even when they were growing up, I did their homework in the visiting room. I taught them how to play chess, to communicate, and even just like I appreciate, from one corner to another, you even expressing that, because man, to say those things that hurt you, wow.
Yeah.
That's good growth, man. That's good. That's good manhood.
And this is again so important for us as men, because when you take on the role as a father, as you said, there's no manual. The closest we got is a manual, if you believe in the word of God, because it gives you all the instructions to what it is to be a father in there. But if you don't have that, or that's not part of your, growing up and what to use, then trial and error. We're living, we don't get a chance to practice in trial and error, right? It's like you either get it together or you don't. And then if you keep messing up, then the perception. So I agree with you all, gentlemen, because I had to go to my daughters and allow my daughters to heal to me. So I went to my daughters and asked them to forgive me, but I had to let them share what was on their heart and let them get it out.
Right.
And you could see when every time I asked them anything else, then you can see their eyes roll back and be like, "Oh yeah, that one time, and that one time, and that one time."
Oh yeah.
So my oldest daughter, she's like, "You know what, Dad? I forgive you, but I'll talk to you when I want to talk to you." That's my oldest. And it hurt. I accept that, because now she's got to figure out what that is, just like I had to figure it out. But at least in her heart, she could always, my dad, he did ask me for forgiveness. Right.
And here's a good point. I'm glad you bring that up. It's important for men, we to self-reflect.
Yes.
Right. I mean, before we even go and ask for forgiveness, we got to know what we're asking for to be forgiven from.
Right. Very true.
See what I'm saying? Because it resonates and it impacts more proficiently on that child. It's more genuine, right? So for me, because we talked about my other son, that passed away, right? And so for me, I had to go into the process of self-reflection, identify those areas as a man, okay, and realize, I mean, I even took a yellow pad, man, and, did the little lines, and man, I didn't realize that list was longer on this side than this side. And then I'm thinking, oh, wow. I mean, I got to go through all of this, you know what I mean? But it was worth it because it helped me to have this relationship that I have now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Jesse, we got a few minutes left, man. Give me 30 seconds of how you felt, man, in this conversation. What are you taking away?
Okay, well, I'm taking this that, you know what, I gotta be honest with my kids, and no matter what, I'm always gonna be there for them. You know what I mean? And you fathers out there, the same thing. You know what I mean? We all make mistakes, but hey, you know what? Let's get our babies, and they're always gonna be our babies, no matter what. You know what I mean? And I myself, I don't want them to be just like me. You know what I mean? I actually, you know what? Yes, I'm a better person today because my past doesn't define who I am today.
Yeah. There you go.
That's what we teach. Mr. Walker, what you got for us?
Yeah, just if you don't mind me piggybacking, it's just like what you're saying, though. I think a father is the only one that wants his sons to be better than him. What man wants somebody to be better? I want my sons to be better. Don't be like me. Be better.
At the end of the day, as we're reflecting, it's the ingredients. You gotta be when you but what are you using to self-reflect? You can't use your own heart because your own heart is already corrupted. Right? So you gotta find something, whether it's therapy, whether it's personal development, whether it's biblical principles. You gotta find some principles outside of your thought process to challenge your mind up against. And I learned, I use therapy, I use personal development, but ultimately I started using the word.
Word of God.
The word is like principles. The therapy classes and the personal development classes, guess where they get the information from? It came from the Bible. Right? And so when I saw that as an adult, like, oh, you know what? I can lean on that. I can stand on that word. Right? And now use that, let that word be a mirror to myself. Right? So my point is self-reflection, you have to do it. But what are you using? You don't use your own mind. You got to find something outside of you. All right, we're done. Mr. Walker, how you feel, man?
Again, that's self-reflection. Like you said, I've done that a lot of times in a cell, and a lot of times you take yourself apart, and then you put yourself back together, and you see some pieces still on the table.
Yeah.
So,
and you have to balance it.
Yeah.
You have to balance it.
Tune in next Tuesday. We're gonna be back. I'm not sure if Jesse's gonna be here, but we're gonna be back.
I love
Peel
this.
off some more of these layers. Thank you, gentlemen, for hanging out. Mr. Walker,
absolutely.
Nothing less, more than a list of blessings. I don't know how to say that, but I really appreciate you. This is the Farron Dozier Show, KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 10:50 AM. Catch us next Tuesday, 6 p.m. at Farron Dozier Show. If you want to be a guest, shout us out. What's the count?
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes, hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the light. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. Oh. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. He's Mr. Red, White, and Blue. Lay down here the light for these stars and stripes. Staying on these front lines, he'll pay the ultimate price. Lay down his life for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey.
Zetovia salve, made from natural and organic ingredients, good for inflammation, poor circulation, hemorrhoids, yeast infection, lip sores, dry coughs, eye pain, minor cuts and bruises, and ready to purchase at botanicaherbalco.com. 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 All right, welcome back to the Farron Dozier Show. I really hope you enjoyed that segment. Yes, I'm on KCA Radio on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. and Wednesdays here on the Military Broadcast Radio Network, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Again, thank you for tuning in and listening today. So I picked Mr. Red, White, and Blue, man. That song, I don't know. It's just to reflect on my own personal career and then my brothers and sisters at arms and just what's going on in the world. And like I said, only 1%, 2% maybe of our population serve in the military, right? And so one of the things that was important for me as I've been in my healing space and dealing with all of my past and just my medical retirement, all the stuff that I'm dealing with, you know, I'm feel good. I feel good, right? But how do we maintain that? And ultimately, it's helping us figure out what's next. This platform that you watch us on, MBR Radio, MBR TV, I found internet radio in 2009. 2009, I found, and I had a show in 2010, a sports show. Just by having that sports show in the mindset that I was in, helped me interrupt the willingness to die. We're talking about this mental health month. Yeah. Every day is mental health month for us. And sometimes for some of us, the transition and change is fine. Some people are prepared. I met a gentleman today as I was charging my car, and he had a Navy recruiting outfit on, and I asked him, we were talking, I'm like, he's like, I got 4 more years. I'm like, you figure what you're going to do next? He's like, no. I'm like, you got to look. If you don't know what's life after the military, you got to start looking today so you can find yourself outside of yourself, outside of that camouflage, outside of that rank. That's what we get to do and who we get to be, but it's not who we are. And for some people, that transition and change is so emotional that they don't know how to function outside of that uniform. They don't know how to function outside of that structure. Yes, we walk away with duty, honor, courage, and discipline and all those selfless service. But there's a part of me that don't want to be disciplined no more. Like, I've been disciplined for 24 years. I don't want to be disciplined. I want to just not make my bed up. Sometimes I just don't make my bed up. I don't care. It's not right or wrong if you make your bed, what that means to you in your mind. And psychologically, but okay, but what else? If it's not the bed, it's something else. Meet people where they are. But for us on this platform, all these shows that you see here streaming all different days of the week and different times of the hour and the night, and TikTok and Roku TV and Twitch and X and wherever you watch our shows at. Imagine that veteran, that first responder's family member, that veteran's family member who has a show on this platform is here for that 1 hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, interrupting that space. And that could be enough to save a person's life. You see that QR code up there, you can go there, scan there, support this network. They provide these services for us. If not, then who? We're going to leave it to the government? I mean, there are a community, but we see what's going on in the government system as it is already. Yes. When people say, thank you for your service, I say, thank you for paying your taxes. But if you really want to thank us for our service, there's a lot of things going on in the community. There are things that these veterans have created to give support to one another. Sometimes it's just that peer-to-peer relationship is enough. I was trained that civilians are not going to understand me at 19 years old. Embedded in my brain that you're not going to understand me if you're a civilian. You don't know what it is to put this uniform on. You don't know. But guess what? I don't understand Farron completely. So I'm not going to put the pressure on you anymore to try to understand me when I don't understand me. And the key is the relatedness. We're human beings first. Before I'm a black man, I'm a human being first. I'm a person first. The labels are destroying us. Yes, we're all from different parts of the world. And whatever your family came to this country for, fleeing from their country, from getting killed or whatever, famine, whatever your great-grandfathers left their country to come here, as the Statue of Liberty says, give us your poor and your, now the Statue of Liberty said, give us that. And now you have immigrants that's coming here for that. And now they're illegal. Those are people first. And if you're coming here illegally, let's help them figure out and get here and put some structure behind it so that you can be a citizen. People want to be citizens of the United States. I want to be a citizen of the kingdom. So now I have two governments. I have the government that governs my heart and my mind and my self-control and my spirit. And then I have the government here that we deal with, that I got to give Caesar his due and pay taxes and do all this and follow the rules. That's a part of human. That's what we're born into this world. We didn't create. No one here created any of this. This country is ran off of dead men ideas from centuries ago. And guess what? Maybe those ideas don't work. Maybe those ideas it's outdated. And it's time for a different conversation. But that different conversation comes from within you first, because how you talk about you is way more worse than probably somebody else who talks about you. Because at the end of the day, nobody's really concerned about you like you think that you are concerned about you. But that's how we think, because I know how I think about me. Then they got to see what I see about myself, which is, if I told you the truth, you probably wouldn't be my friend no more. If I really told you my deepest secrets and my deepest thoughts, you probably would walk away from me and not even call me no more. That's how we talk to ourselves. So mental health, yes, that's the label. Peel that label of mental health off and figure out what is that for you? What does that mean to you, mental health? To your child, to your cousin, to your family members? Do we even have those kind of conversations? Do we teach our families as soldiers? My brothers who are serving, my sisters who are serving, We get that mental health education in the military, active duty. You get that. National Guard, you get that. Please take those pamphlets to your family so they can read and educate them. So if you ever get into that state of mind where you feel lost and in despair and in self-loathing, they have something that they could gauge off of. Like, hey, what's going on with you? If you're not going to do that, then there are going to be organizations like us that's going to come into the community and educate your family members on mental health and what it is to pay attention to a soldier who could be in despair. We don't mind doing it. If you're not going to do it, then we'll do it to support you in that so that your family can pay attention. Mental health, that's the label. But what does it mean to you? When you look out in the world and you think about mental health, about yourself, what does that look like to you? Right? What else? Oh, it's Mother's Day weekend this coming Sunday. So I am blessed to be able to deliver. It's Youth Sunday, second Sunday at the New Earth Christian Church. However, I'm on deck to deliver the Mother's Day message for Youth Sunday. Shouts out to Pastor Larry at the New Earth Christian Church.org. You can go there. On Sundays, 10 a.m. is the service. It's online. The church is online. And so I'm in the midst of studying my message. I've been talking to the Holy Spirit, been downloading the messages and what he wants me to share on that Sunday. And so I'm working through that right now. I definitely got a couple ideas. Because I have to send in the title and the scripture, and I got to send all that in so they could create the outline for the message. So I actually did all of that, and I think I'm blessed. Like, I'm blessed. I got to do some more studying. I have the pretty much the outline of it, but I'm gonna link you the title. The title of the message. The title of the message for Mother's Day this weekend is called Children Uplifting Mothers in 2026. Children Uplifting Mothers in 2026. The subtitle is Honor, Protection, Restoration, and Reconciliation. The subtitle is Honor, Protection, Restoration, and Reconciliation. As a son to his mother, I had to be that. But also as a mother to their children or their son or daughter, that's who she is for us. That's who our mother is for us. And if it's Mother's Day coming up and you don't have a relationship with your mother, if you have not talked to your mom and you want to talk to her and you got her phone number and you just don't know how to open up that conversation, or you wait for her to call you, you wait for your mother that she's the mother, she should call me first. Don't do that. Don't be that way. Soften your heart. I'm going to give you some notes, and I got 2 minutes. Check this out. So look, if you are interested in speaking to your mom for Mother's Day this year in 2026, you got her phone number, right? I know you know how to reach her. You can get her on the phone. If you don't have her phone number, you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody how to contact your mother. I met people that ain't talked to their mama in 20 years, in 15 years, sometimes longer, 5 years, shorter. If you're that person and your mom is still alive, and you think that there's a fracture between you and her, this is my ask to you. Sit down, grab a piece of paper, and make a list. Use your imagination. Go back in time in your heart from a child, as far as back as you can think, and write down what you want to thank your mother for. Write down, what do you want to thank your mother? If you could talk to her and say what you needed to say, what would you say? Mom, I want to thank you for this. Sit down and write it down on a piece of paper. As many, if you only got 5 things that you could think of in that moment, write down 5. If you got 2 things, 1 thing, if you got 1 thing is enough. After you got that thing written down on that piece of paper, call your mother, call your mom, and say this: Hi, Mom, how are you? I want to say something to you, and I just want you to listen. And say, Mom, I just want to thank you for. Read the list. Read the list. Read them. Read all of them. If it's 50 things, read all 50. If it's 5, read all 5. And after you get done reading it, and I just want to say, Mom, thank you. I turned out. Thank you for being my mom, and thank you for those things that you did for me as a child. And then let her talk. Say thank you and let her talk. Send me a message at Farron Dozier. I want to know if you did that. I want to know. Hit me up. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Hit me up. I want to know. Put a message wherever you watch this at. I challenge you. See, because sometimes we don't tell our parents, our fathers and mothers, the good things. We only tell them, we share the bad things. We share the upsets. Share with your father and mother the good things. So this is Mother's Day. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that for Father's Day next month. But for this month, this weekend, Mother's Day, do that for your mom. Call her and say thank you and read the notes. If it's just making spaghetti, your favorite dish as a child, say thank you. And then let her talk. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. All right, I'm out of here. This is the Farron Dozier Show, the Farron Dozier Show, the Military Broadcast Radio Network, MBR Radio. Again, very grateful to be a part of the network here. Again, that QR code up there in the corner, make sure you support us. We thank you again. And yeah, catch us, me, KCA Radio, 106.5 FM and 1050 AM, and also here on the Military Broadcast Radio Network on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Shout us out, what's the count? Oh, WDCONSTT.org. If you have any conversations that you have questions about sickle cell trait, that's me right there. I got one normal and one that mutates. Yeah. Did I tell you I went to Stanford University? Yeah, I went to Stanford University and did a sickle cell conversation. It was designed about sickle cell as complete, as a whole, about bone marrow registry. It's important, blood donations, and just the importance of the knowledge and awareness and education about sickle cell trait and prevention conversations of sickle cell and sickle cell trait. All right, I'm out of here. Let me get out of here. I appreciate y'all for listening in. The Farron Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. Shout out to What's the Count.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.